Kongversation.
Oh no! The helicopter found me! I've got to hide in the jungle! Hold on! I recognize those apes! They're my fugitive ape army! You know, from seasons 2, 3, and 4. I know, of course you remember!
Hello, and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
And I'm Nick Prol.
Nick, thank you for spending Valentine's night with me.
Yeah, I had plans, but I had to, you're kind of a dictator when it comes to the podcast, so I had to cancel them. And
I'll be your dictator, all right.
Yeah. But yeah, so that romantic dinner plan I had is out the window. Here I am talking about Donkey Kong.
Oh, Nick. I mean, sure, if you can light candles, you can, prepare a meal, but at the end of the night, it's still your sock. Come on.
It's not a sock, okay? It's a mitten.
So yes, if you're listening to this, terribly confused, if donkey all confused at home, we are recording this episode of the Kongversation on Valentine's night. It's actually not going to be up till a couple days after Valentine's Day, but, we thought, why not let all the lonely hearts out there, why not give them a respite from the holiday, where love is crammed down your throat, but not literally, because then, what would be the problem? And why not let them sit in with us and spend their evening hearing two grown men talk about Donkey Kong? Now, of course, they had to pay $5 in order to hear us, but, love doesn't come cheap, am I right? So...
Yeah, I mean... I have to pay $5 for every romantic encounter, so...
Yeah, well, I mean, that's high end. That's the upper... echelon of escorts, $5, that's pushing it. Usually you can find something much cheaper than that. Usually in bulk too.
I'm not really into the whole mutations thing.
Well, I'm talking more like the Costco philosophy of escorts, where
buy in bulk.
Buy in bulk, yeah. Get 6 for the price of 1, and you also get free samples too. It's great.
That's true.
So. I wanted to do an episode about not romance in the Donkey Kong universe, because I think that is going to be pretty cut and dry or uncut and wet, depending on your perspective. Like the condoms of our listeners, the only thing the Donkey Kong universe is really filled with is regret. Besides Diddy and Dixie, Cranky and Wrinkly, I guess Jolly Roger and Mary Maggie, maybe Fox and Crystal and Cooper and Amber. I don't know. There aren't many stable, happy, or healthy relationships in the Donkey Kong universe. All other potential couples have some serious flaws, and most of their hang-ups actually keep them from ever getting together, from ever making that love connection. So... I thought it would be fun to take a closer look at all of the almost romances of the Donkey Kong universe, the ones that are taboo, the ones that fans have noticed a spark, but ones that will probably never happen for various reasons. And that way, if you are listening to this alone and despondent, it will give you hope that, hey, I might not have love in my life, but neither does Funky Kong, and Funky Kong is pretty damn sweet. I mean, who wouldn't want to live that life? So, this episode is mostly here to give you at home hope. So, I think I'm a humanitarian, Nick. I don't know how you view yourself, but I definitely view myself as essentially a saint. I mean, you got Saint Valentine, who got a whole holiday around him. Oh, where's the Saint Hyle? Where's the Saint Nick? Well, there is a Saint Nick. Never mind.
Jolly old Saint Nick.
Never mind. Maybe Saint Spuzzwick is what they could call you. Maybe. I don't know.
Has a nice ring to it.
I think I think having a Saint Spuzwick in Catholicism would raise all sorts of eyebrows, given the scandals that have plagued the church in the last 2 decades. Just because it sounds like a very, how do I delicately put this? It sounds like a molesty name. I'm just saying, it's Saint Spuzwick.
Thanks. I didn't know you felt that way.
Well, no, Spuzwick by itself is fine, but you put a saint in front of it. Oh,
saint, yeah.
Yeah. Lock up your daughters, and your sons. Just lock them all up. So,
and your dogs.
All right, so we at DK Vine, this is a little bit out of step for us because we don't normally celebrate Valentine's Day. We don't. It's something we usually take great pride in ignoring. And that's because we are faithful followers of the Church of Father Cobcock. That's right.
And that doesn't sound molesty at all.
Oh, it doesn't. It does. Look, context, Nick. There's always context. And as everybody listening to this should know, there is a beloved Donkey Kong Jungle Beat baddie called Cobcock,
of course.
The bulbous chicken head on a plant stalk. And every February 13th in our community, we have Cobcock Day. And it's something we've officially recognized. We brought back Cobcock Day from obscurity in 2012. So every February 13th, we have some Cobcock treat for our readers. And this year, we actually unearthed a classic, and I mean classic, Cobcock Day candy commercial that was put out by the Scabberry company. Everybody knows Scabberry.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, Scabberry, they have the Sauce Cobbies product that it was available until the FDA pulled it from store shelves. It still might be available overseas. I'm not really sure. I'm not a worldly man, Nick.
Maybe at Costco.
But you need a Costco membership, or you need to know somebody who has one, and
it's all about who you know over there.
Yeah, that's just far beyond my means. If you're a jet-setting James Bond type, you could be going to Costco every week. But unfortunately, I have to make do with what the DK Vine patrons provide for me. But hey, the DK Vine patrons gave me enough money that I was able to purchase this VHS tape at a police auction.
I had forgotten about the commercial, but seeing it, it's like takes me right back to being an embryo.
Wow. Oh, you remember watching commercials when you were in the womb?
Oh, totally, yeah. Some of my earliest memories are Joe Camel.
Well, I don't remember, Joe Camel, while being a fetus, but I do remember as a kid thinking, God damn, that camel is cool, and I can't wait to smoke his cigarettes. And
my mom was smoking while watching, so it was like I was getting some of it. So I bet you're jealous.
True.
I bet you're jealous.
Yeah, I am. I wish my mom was that generous because really, yeah. I mean, man,
it was smoke-filled down there.
Yeah. My mom would smoke cigars in her nether regions, but unfortunately, I was already out of there by that time.
Your mom's Monica Lewinsky?
Yeah. No. My mom's Kurt Russell in drag. Anyway, we got this VHS tape. Purchased it at a police auction, and we put it up on our YouTube channel. The quality is a little poor because it is a 20-year-old VHS
it's 1990.
tape. Yeah, it's not, I think it's around 99 maybe, but I remember seeing this commercial while I was watching, children's programming. I was watching like Nickelodeon, watching the Donkey Kong Country cartoon show on Fox Family. And
it was 99? I thought it was 1990.
No, it's from the 1990s.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't an embryo in 1999. I probably saw this on the TV.
Okay, yeah. The date is sort of indeterminate, but it'll bring back nostalgia for anyone who was around during that time, and it'll get you craving the sauce copies. And I really miss the sauce copy. before I even joined the Church of Father Cobcock, I remember biting into a sauce cobby and thinking, wow, it is mid-February. That it is indeed. So, yeah. Check that out, dkvine.com/YouTube. It's up right now. And it's great, too, because we could just pull it from a VHS tape. We didn't have to do any work, It's so much work running a Donkey Kong website, having to edit together stupid videos. It's so nice having content provided for us on this VHS tape. We didn't have to do a damn thing.
I like to call thrift stores content stores.
Exactly.
That's where you found this, right?
That's where you make the money. Oh, I bought it at police auction, so, that's really where the gold... Especially for our fan base, you really want to go to the police auctions from, drug dealers and pimps and just really the underbelly of society, because that's where you'll find the pay dirt. That's where you'll find some great Donkey Kong Jungle Beat content just waiting for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So dkvine.com/YouTube. Or you can go to YouTube and just search for DKVine. That's probably what normal people would do. Speaking of the patrons, I wanted to directly broadcast that the 2018 DKVine Patreon stickers are on their way. They have been sent to the print man or the print woman. I don't mean to be, patriarchal in my fantasies about who's printing our stickers. So we have Series 3, it's on the way. So, of course, Series 1, we had the classic DK Vine characters, Diddle, Bear and Bird, and Conkers versus Bad Nut. Series 2, I believe it was Funny Monkey was the lead character, and then we had Nice Pirate Bloke, and then we had Strange Frog and Wacky Owl. So Series 3 introduces 3 more beloved characters, and that is the character Gnarly, who's everyone's favorite surfer dude.
I love him.
Skellington Face, who's everyone's favorite shaman, and of course, Clockman, everyone's favorite race steward / possible pirate. And we got the DK Vine logo sticker this year, and that's in the theme of the 1990s design of the Kongversation's artwork this year, as well as the upcoming site redesign for DK Vine itself. So every patron will get these stickers in the mail in the next few weeks. $1 on up. So if you're not a patron and you want these fabulous stickers in your memorabilia collection, then you know where to go. dkvine.com/Patreon. Every little bit, every little dollar you give us will be dollars we can spend at police auctions to bring you even better Donkey Kong, rare, and Platonic related content. So, and of course, you can also listen to us in the live stream. We've got turnout tonight here on Valentine's night. I want to give a shout out to we got Cameron Regal, of course, DK Vine staffer. He doesn't really count. We've got I Am Gibbon, and we've got DJ Dustin, and people turn up all the time in there. There's a couple I wanted to give a shout out to. How you guys doing? Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's night. Of course, happy Coxing Day for those of you who adhere to the Church of Father Cobcock. And anyway, hope you enjoy the show. We'll be checking in with the live stream throughout the episode, unless we forget, which, let's be honest, usually is the case. $5 and up, people. Get you in there. So, Nick. Should I say hashtag bring back the spiders? Should I? Nah, okay. What about Fabio? It's Valentine's night. I'm sure Fabio is busy being on many Lonely Housewives romance covers from the 90s. But
he himself is alone in a hotel room with a pigeon.
A pigeon in a tub of I can't believe it's not butter.
Yeah.
Hey, we fall on hard times. We're riding high one day, then we get hit
Life's a roller coaster.
It is. Like Apollo's chariot, you fly too close to the sun, and then you've got a pigeon in the face. All right. Forbidden love in the Donkey Kong universe. Excuse me. Forbidden love in the Donkey Kong universe. There we go. So,
should I get my saxophone out?
You know what?
That'll take too long.
Yeah. We'll hopefully David Wise is nearby with his saxophone, and he can belt out various tonally inappropriate saxophone love themes like he did in Star Fox Adventures, which I believe just was basically a ripoff of the saxophone theme from Blade Runner, like the love theme from Blade Runner. But
wow.
Yeah, anyway, you know what I'm talking about, right? The Fox and Crystal like love theme.
I don't remember it. No.
You don't remember? It's like whenever Fox first saw Crystal entombed in the crystal in Krazoa Palace, it played. And then during the end credits, it played, I guess to imply that Fox and Crystal were showing each other their staffs.
Like tears in rain.
Yeah. Or other bodily fluids. Oh, we're having fun tonight on Valentine's Day. So, Forbidden Love. We've talked about some of these, Nick, on the conversation at Pat. We've talked about these in some character witnesses, I am sure. You were on the Mumbo Jumbo character witness last autumn, so I know we've touched upon who Mumbo's been touching or wanted to have touched in the past, but for completion's sake, because we have to reach completion, we need to relitigate some of those. So if you are a faithful Kongversation listener, bear with us, or Kong with us, or Kremlin with us. So, okay. I think the best place to start, Nick, would be Candy Kong, because Candy Kong, she is, as the Donkey Kong Country
I always thought of her as the best place to finish.
Oh, you just have to turn it dirty, Nick. What is your problem?
Hey, you set the tone, I just follow.
Oh, no. I was
taking orders.
I am a chaste choir boy who was scandalized by St. Spuzwick. Do not put this on me. So, Candy Kong, according to the Donkey Kong Country Instruction Manual, she is the banana of Donkey Kong's eye. And as far as we know, Donkey Kong and Candy Kong are still an item. They are still a romantic duo. But the thing about Candy Kong is being the, let's be honest, hideous 50s pinup gorilla she is. She also attracts some other male suitors or wannabe suitors. Sometimes they're just suitors in their imagination, but she does have a following among other Kongs. And so I wanted to touch upon those relationships. And of course, we've got to start with our YouTube and SoundCloud artwork this week. It's Candy and Funky Kong. This is the big one, in my opinion. So, Candy and Funky Kong, from the get-go, from the first game, Donkey Kong Country, Funky Kong is making, they're not really lewd comments about Candy Kong, but they are very, very heavy with the implication that Funky wants Candy himself.
He's making him straight at Donkey Kong. He's a real...
sometimes it could be straight at Diddy Kong, like he's
a real slipper in the grass.
Oh, yeah. He he wants to get very naughty with Candy Kong. I'm not as good at this.
Can't make a pun out of something that's already a pun.
Yeah, no, it just ruins it. So, Funky says in Donkey Kong Country that he would give surfing lessons to Candy Kong anytime. So that just puts the notion in your head that, okay, this is a bit weird because Donkey and Candy are an item. And here Funky, Donkey's supposed best friend, is like best friend since childhood, is just openly saying to him, hey dude, I want to get with your girl. And you
gotta get Matt to do a Donkey's Girl, Jesse's Girl cover.
Matt's a little bit busy right now. He's overseeing.
Okay, I'll do it. Design.
Okay, I mean, yeah, Matt of course did our Bowie a DK rap mashup. So
our most popular piece of content ever.
Yeah, most popular piece of DK Vine content ever on any platform. Yeah, Candy. So, I mean, she's attractive. She's an attractive ape. At least we're led to believe this for those of us who aren't attracted to apes. We would have to ask, our theme song guru his opinions on Candy Kong at some point. But to be totally truthful, I'm afraid to ask him anything. Now, this put the notion in fans' heads that Funky is attracted to Candy Kong. But then it seems like the games have kind of alluded to it a little bit over the years. Not I mean, specifically outright, but we definitely, see in Donkey Kong 64, Funky and Candy both storm the K. Rool fight at the end together. Which, it's like, okay, well, they're just helping out their mutual friend.
Yeah.
Or Donkey Kong and friends. But, you got the opening of DK Jungle Climber shows them both relaxing on the beach together. Granted, the other Kongs are there too, but there's this implied kind of familiarity there that maybe the attraction is mutual, and Candy Kong is definitely kind of hot for Funky a little bit too. And
I think you're reading it all wrong. I think he's just her gay friend. Like, what if maybe he was just serious about giving her surfing lessons.
That, I remember when Tropical Freeze came out, that it was brought up on the show that maybe Funky is gay, because when he was given, he sold you hearts, and he kind of did this. It was almost like a gay panic, like no homo, like me giving you a heart thing. And it was like, is he overcompensating for something? Or is he it seemed like painfully inadequate as far as his security in his
Funky's gay
sexuality.
In my headcanon.
Well, you Funky can be whatever he wants to be in people's headcanons, but we brought this up on the season premiere. Malik and I talked about it, how much more successful Funky Kong is, at least on the surface, than Donkey Kong is. Sure, Donkey Kong is the protector of Donkey Kong Island, but Funky is a self-made man. Funky started from a fishing business, and he expanded into this huge, sprawling enterprise. He owns airports. He owns casinos.
Started from the bottom, now we here.
He started from the bottom, and he might want to be on the bottom of Candy Kong.
Or Swanky Kong.
Or, well, we'll get to Swanky too. So, I don't know, in the original DKC instruction manual, it mentioned that everybody assumed Donkey and Candy would one day get married, but Donkey just wasn't ready to settle down yet. Well, it's been over 20 years. I don't think Donkey Kong's ever going to be ready to settle down. So if I'm Candy Kong, I'm thinking Funky's looking better and better by the day. In my opinion, and I've really come around to this point of view, Candy and Funky are meant to be together. In my headcanon, and maybe a little bit of it was implied in games and in supplementary material, but Donkey, Candy, and Funky were childhood friends, or at least they grew up together. They're contemporaries at the same age. And yeah, I don't think Donkey and Candy are meant to be together. I think it's Funky and Candy. And I think Donkey is just in the way from all of them being truly happy. And if he would just step down, Candy and Funky could realize they're meant to be together, and Donkey Kong Island would be a happier place. I think
it's a third wheel, or like a third banana or something.
Yeah, maybe Donkey Kong's the gay one. I mean, he's the one who's not ready to settle down, wants to be a confirmed bachelor. I mean, George Clooney, could pull that off, but even he settled down eventually. Donkey Kong, I think Candy might be his beard, honestly.
Maybe.
But anyway, yeah, in my opinion, the status of Candy and Funky they're unrequited soulmates. I know you're going to disagree, but to me, I personally ship those two.
Yeah, you definitely know I will disagree based upon the random gay theory I just came up with right now and I've never had before.
But I know you're a man who sticks by what he says, so you're gonna hold true to that for the rest of your life. It is going to be engraved on your tombstone.
Even if Miyamoto himself comes out and says Funky is straight, I will not believe it.
I'm sure that's gonna come up, Nick. I'm sure in the next YouTube questionnaire Nintendo does with Miyamoto, those cute little things who's Bowser Jr.'s mother, and then Miyamoto says me. Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna say, "Yo, is Funky gay or what?" And
they'll be like, "Any thoughts on Funky Kong being in the new Switch version?" He'll be like, "Oh yes, he's all the men want to be him, and all the women want to be with him," or something.
Quite honestly, we need some Kongs of different sexualities at this point. And I would be perfectly fine if one of the existing Kongs was confirmed to be of a different sexual persuasion than... Because there are some Kongs who have never had any romantic entanglements or attachments or any implications. So I would be perfectly fine if they said, "Hey, Chunky Kong, he likes him chunky."
And Redneck Kong likes him related to him.
Oh, or a sheep. He likes sheep.
Woolly.
Yeah. He likes them little bleeders from Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge.
Oh.
But no, I mean, that is, I think, Nintendo is kind of behind the times when it comes to gay representation in their games. There's that whole...
Yeah, Cam makes a good point in the chat. Funky's bi. He's definitely bi.
He could surf both ways, I'm sure.
Yeah,
he knows how to ride those waves.
Vibe.
Yeah. I would be fine with that, but I do think he and Candy are meant to be together. I think there's definitely...
What if Candy's asexual?
Well, then being with Donkey Kong definitely pays off because she's not getting any from him. All right. Let's stay... I was going to say let's stay on the Candy Kong, but that just sounds... Let's stay on the topic of Candy Kong and move to a different potential romantic pairing that I believe is much more one-sided, and that is Candy and Swanky Kong. So Swanky, he's one of my favorite Kongs, Nick. I am a confirmed Swanky file. I think Swanky
probably is
hilarious.
My favorite Kong. I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's only had 2 appearances, and then he was referenced in the first Mario baseball game.
Really?
You saw Swanky's sideshow was in the background. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, besides that, Swanky is mostly forgotten about, except for the hardcore devotees. And what I love about Swanky is he is just quintessentially a rare character through and through. He's kind of shit. He's kind of stupid. He is literally a cheesy game show host, but a gorilla. And I just love how idiotic that is. Now, Swanky Kong, a lot of what the fans, and especially we, the DK Vine staff, believe about Swanky Kong was actually informed by Nintendo Power, of all things. We don't have too much in the way of Swanky biographical information from Rare, but Nintendo Power, when Donkey Kong Country 2 came out, that issue, December 1995, they had trading cards in the issue that you could tear out and for Donkey Kong Country 2. And I don't know how they're trading cards when they give you all of them in the same magazine. I mean, it's pretty pathetic. You can't really trade them when you already have them all. But you had Swanky Kong as one of the cards, and you had some biographical information on the back. So I want to read this to you to give you a sense of who we think Swanky Kong is. All right, so Height 5'6", weight 380 pounds. I don't think that could be accurate because we know Donkey Kong himself weighs around 800 pounds by virtue of Donkey Kong 64 and his weigh-in by a micro buffer at the beginning of the boxing match at the end of the game. So I think Swanky would have to weigh a little bit more than that. Turn-ons. Yes, in the Nintendo Power trading cards, it listed the turn-ons of the characters of Donkey Kong Country 2. You wonder why I turned out the way I did, why Nick turned out the way he did, why most of DK Vine turned out the way it did. It wasn't just Rare. It wasn't just scribes that tainted our brain and brained our taints. It was Nintendo Power itself. So turn-ons for Swanky Kong listed are polyester, disco, plaid jackets, his gold 77 Firebird.
So he drives a car.
Apparently, in Nintendo Power's vision of Swanky Kong, he is the Onion's version of Joe Biden. So, which I'm okay with. I can see
It also
Swanky...
sounds like he's turned on by himself from all these things.
a little bit, which works as well. But I love the visual of Swanky Kong shirtless in the driveway, washing his Firebird on some Saturday afternoon, like a gold medallion dangling in his chest hair. That's Swanky Kong to me. Turn-offs include sushi. Maybe he's the gay one. Oh, jinx! Oh no, you said it first. I owe you an Angry Orchard.
Hey, it's Valentine's Day. Why don't you owe me something a little bit more than that?
Well, I right now, actually not drinking Angry Orchard tonight. I am drinking Balls, the energy drink, Balls.
That's what I'm talking about. So
I owe you some balls. BAWLS. Get your minds out of the gutter, people.
Seriously.
Jesus. So turn-offs include sushi, heavy metal, and grunge music. So
I think they literally just put that there as like the opposite of disco.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just thought Swanky really likes disco music, and this is where our whole notion that Swanky is very much like entranced with mid to late 70s culture came from. But
he's like Leisure Suit Larry or something.
Yeah. I mean, granted, he is kind of wearing like almost the leisure suit in DKC 2. Favorite quote, singular. I'll take jungle trivia for $1,000. That's stupid.
That's his favorite quote he said, or that someone else said, or
I don't know. It doesn't really clarify. I could write to Nintendo Power, but Nintendo Power's defunct. They're just a podcast now, and I don't
plus
think
100,000 like human dollars. I thought they used banana coins.
Excuse me, $1,000. But yeah, that doesn't
1,000.
Really. Sorry, I'm reading this. It's like a tiny JPEG that it gets blurry when you expand it. So I'm trying to like squint as I read this. Now here's why I bring all of this idiocy up. Favorite video back when they called them videos before streaming
it could
video.
Be a YouTube video, yeah.
But yeah, I guess yeah. But his favorite video is 100 Ways to Meet Girls. We brought this up before. This is kind of skeevy.
It's like one of those sleazy pickup artist guru guys.
Yeah, so yeah, he's a pickup artist. He's a wannabe pickup artist. I don't think he's a successful pickup artist, but he's definitely a guy who views himself as a Lothario, a swinger. Goes to key parties by himself, but that doesn't stop him from attending. Maybe just to watch. So I bring all of this up because in the Donkey Kong Country 2 Game Boy Advance remake, we found out what Candy Kong was up to while her beau was kidnapped and in K. Rool's Keep, all tied up. And Candy was with Swanky Kong, basically being Swanky Kong's Vanna White. And I don't know about you, Nick, but, 7 p.m. rolls around, Wheel of Fortune comes on the TV. Who among us hasn't fantasized about Vanna White and Pat Sajak buying a consonant, the letter F? You know what I'm talking about. And I gotta wonder, did anything ever happen between Swanky and Candy during this time? I mean, her boyfriend was kidnapped. She didn't even know if she was ever going to see him again. And, you know, we've hypothesized in the past that Swanky might be Donkey Kong's brother. So, the next best thing, maybe? More than just a shoulder to cry on? A polyester shoulder to cry on? I don't know. I think it's selling Candy a little bit short to say that, yeah, something happened between them. I think it's wrong for us to just assume it did. Because I think, at the end of the day, Swanky is kind of pathetic. He's a wannabe pickup artist. He's not a successful pickup artist. He's kind of a loser. Kind of a joke. So I'm gonna say Swanky is a loser. He might have thought about making a move, but he never did. And Candy felt pretty uncomfortable, but thankfully, nothing ever happened. What do you think?
Who do you think hosted that 100 Ways to Meet Girls video he watched?
That's a good question.
Josh
like,
Wolf?
do you think... except it would actually be a wolf named Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, if it would be a pre-existing DKU character or not. Like, would it be like a young Boggy Bear, maybe? I don't know. Could have been one of Mr. Pants' many ventures.
That makes sense.
Could be. Or it could just be a human video that, they got off a downed plane or wrecked ship in Lost Mangroves or something. I don't know.
It's got Ron Jeremy in it.
Oh, dressed as Mario, too. So
yeah, that's confusing.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure if Cranky found that video, he'd feel all sorts of emotions, and probably none of them pleasant. All right, speaking of Cranky, let's talk about Candy and Cranky real quick. This is not one that's ever brought up, but I feel like it's worth mentioning just in passing, because apparently Cranky has at least thought about Candy in an inappropriate way. If this quote from the Donkey Kong 64 instruction manual is anything to go by.
Oh, shit.
Do you want to read this one, Nick? You do.
Okay.
You can do a good... This is Cranky Kong reading the little write-up for Candy Kong in the instruction manual.
That darn donkey has all the luck. His girl Candy waits around in her hut, always willing to offer her musical help to that undeserving son of mine and his fancy polygonal friends. Pah!
So I don't know what it was about the Cranky Kong voice, but we're recording this via Skype. And that's how Nick and I are communicating right now. Apparently, your cranky voice just completely cut out Skype. Like,
oh wow!
I guess Bill, see, Skype is owned by Microsoft. Microsoft bought Skype some time ago, so I imagine Bill Gates is at the switchboard for Skype, and he was just like, "What is this? Oh no, I'm not putting this through."
Well, hopefully it was recorded on my end.
Yes, and luckily I know exactly what you said because I have the DK64 instruction manual.
It wasn't that good of a voice anyway.
Yeah. My Cranky is always that darn donkey. It's like a prospector. I don't know why. So I find this a little bothersome for one reason. This is DK64. It takes place November 1999. Cranky, your wife is barely in the ground. And you're fantasizing about your son's girlfriend? What the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, seriously.
A man's got urges, I guess.
Well, okay, but Wrinkly isn't even bones yet, so he better put away his boner, because that is just inappropriate. Like, you're in a mourning, Cranky Kong. Just because your wife is popping out in ghost stores going, woo, doesn't mean it gives you license to go tomcatting around. No, thank
That's
you.
a good point. Like, if my wife died, but then I saw her immediately as being a ghost who was fine, I'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but then, she's watching you, so you better... I don't know, you better control your urges.
She probably has a new ghost boyfriend.
Oh, I very much doubt it. I don't... No. I mean, granted, I don't know how much love was ever in the Cranky and Wrinkly relationship. I like to think Cranky and Wrinkly did have a loving relationship.
Well, I mean, we know how Wrinkly died.
Oh, well, according to that's your fan. That is your fan. It's your fan, and Mr. Funky is in love with Donkey Kong. But I don't know. Besides some gentle-natured jabs back and forth, I like to think Cranky and Wrinkly had a healthy relationship up to the end, despite, your theory that Cranky murdered her.
Well, we didn't murder her on purpose.
Okay, well, still. All right.
You just thrust it a little too hard.
I'm just going to write that off as Cranky being a horny old man, overcome with grief, and not minding what he's saying. Plus, it's just in the instruction manual, so we can write it off as only pseudo-canon, so.
He's probably, like, half senile anyways, like Stan Lee, like, saying remarks and shit.
Yeah, I don't think Cranky is supposed to be, 94 or whatever, however old Stan Lee is in DK64?
Excelsior, bitch!
Wait, did you just say the B word?
Uh-oh. Get
Nick!
out the jar. Get out the jar!
Good lord. And on Valentine's Day of all days.
I'm sorry.
I still have it in my show notes. You are not allowed to say that word. And I
know. And anyone that remembers this reference is a true fan.
Is a true fan, yeah. All right, let's move on to a topic I know you're well acquainted with.
Thanks to you.
The many loves of Mumbo Jumbo. So we won't be as in-depth here because we did talk about this to a disturbing length last autumn, but let's just get it out in the open. Mumbo and Gruntilda, what do you think? They're
it's a
definitely
student-teacher relationship.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're star-crossed lovers. I think had circumstances been different, because I've been thinking about this a lot since our character witnessed last autumn. I've been thinking about it every night. I've been trying to sleep, and my mind inevitably rolls over to Mumbo and Gruntilda rolling over.
I haven't thought about it once.
That's weird.
That's kind of odd.
It's kind of upsetting, actually. I don't know. Like, we know Mumbo was very quick to get with Gruntilda in the potential timeline where she sucked Tootie's youth and beauty out from her and absorbed it within her own pores. But I don't know. Like, I just sense that had things gone differently, not even talking about like what's portrayed in the game, I'm talking about in the past. Had Gruntilda not been so heinous and not been so eager to master the black arts, she and Mumbo would have been perfect
African American arts.
Okay. Dude, you just had to.
It's 2018, dude. It's the year of Wakanda. Just please act accordingly.
They're not African American, though. They're African. Fictionalized African nation.
I thought all Africans were African Americans.
Okay, you're trying to be too politically correct right now, and you're being insulting.
America is not defined by lines, Hyle. The world is America. We open everyone to our doors. So in a way, every African is an African American.
Fair enough. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I get the sense that because Mumbo and Grunty are both kind of gross, they're both kind of crude. They both don't have a good sense of boundaries. I think they would have been perfect for each other had she not,
they both fuck anything that moves.
Yeah, I don't know if Grunty does. We'll get into Grunty's sexual history here.
Well, that broom. I mean, he didn't.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure the broom. She was like that. One of those kids with the vibrating Harry Potter wand, or so the urban legend states.
Oh, good lord!
I mean, look it up on Snopes. I think it's pretty much debunked. It was just people writing like funny Amazon.com reviews, but it was still like a news story when those vibrating Harry Potter brooms came out. I think around the time of the first movie, Philosopher's Stone or Sorcerer's Stone, depending on where you live. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. They're both uncouth, and I think, had she not hideously scarred Mumbo and turned him into a skull-faced goon,
yeah,
they could have made it work.
Maybe he scarred her and turned her ugly, and that's what she used to look like, the hot version.
I think the only thing he scarred was her heart, or vice versa. I don't really know. Of course, there's Mumbo and Humba. So,
of course, that's more of a like rivalry, like love-hate thing.
Well, guys, so I've been rewatching Cheers as of late, and it still holds up.
It's a good use of your time.
Yeah. And so I view Mumbo and Humba as kind of a Sam and Diane sort of thing, where, yeah, there's a definite spark there. Yeah, it's hot and combustible, but it's inevitably going to fall apart by the end of season 5. It's just not meant to be. So even if they indulged their urges, even if they just gave in and said, I am intensely attracted to you, Mumbo Jumbo or Humba Wumba.
I mean, the relationship between Mumbo and Humba is kind of like Cheers. It took a while, but eventually he got a Woody.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I was gonna say, it would end in tears, and then we would have to have Kirstie Alley move in to Humba's wigwam.
Are we talking like Wrath of Khan Kirstie Alley or like Weight Watchers Kirstie Alley?
In between, Cheers Kirstie Alley.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, okay.
I've never seen an episode of Cheers in my life, so.
Oh, all right. I would start actually with the Kirstie Alley episodes, especially because it Cheers turned into it started off as more of a dramedy. Here's my thing about Cheers. All right, be totally on topic, and it's going to help us get this episode in at a decent time. Cheers was a quality show all 11 seasons, and most intellectual critics will say that the early seasons were the best. I disagree. I think from a pure comedy standpoint, the later seasons were the best, because Cheers stopped trying to be a dramedy and started embracing what it really excelled at, and that was a full-on farce.
Did Cheers ever leave the bar? Were there scenes outside of the bar? Okay,
oh, yeah,
I didn't know that.
The first season, the whole show took place in a bar. I believe it was the second season they finally stepped out of the bar. But near the end of the show, it just became a full-on like wacky but intelligent screwball comedy. And that was something that then Frasier, when they spun Frasier off,
that I've seen. Rest in peace, John Mahoney.
John Mahoney, yeah. I'm actually in the preliminary planning stages of doing a Frasier Donkey Kong mashup for YouTube.
Oh, nice.
No idea when or if it'll ever be completed. It'd be a lot of work, and I don't think a lot of people will care, but I had an idea, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny to mash up Frasier and Donkey Kong? And then John Mahoney died a couple days later, and I was like, oh, this kind of puts a damper on my plans.
So in the Donkey Kong mashup, would it be, Dear God Styles?
Because Ryan Stiles, right?
Yeah, of course.
The beloved Donkey Kong universe character, Ryan Stiles, yeah. I don't know. I will let people's imaginations take them to how a Donkey Kong Frasier mashup would work. But why don't we get back to Mumbo and him fucking anything that moves. And in this case, Honey Bee.
Yeah, he went to the bottom of the barrel on this one.
Yeah, you might say he broke out in highs afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could say that.
I was hoping we were gonna start pun gamemanship.
I totally okay. What's another bee pun for that though?
Well, I don't know. Was barrel really a bee pun? That was
Not
more of a
really.
general DKU pun.
I wasn't even intending it to be.
You already kind of failed there.
Yeah. I should probably take my own life.
Don't. Please don't. Please don't.
But that would be a good reason.
No, it would be a terrible reason. I need you because, quite frankly, I don't have too many co-hosts that I can utilize. And you're a nice change of pace whenever you're on the show.
Okay, I'll live.
Okay, good. And plus,
I'm easily persuaded.
Plus, we're talking about bees. This is your only chance to use the B word. In this case, bee.
Bumble? Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, the relationship between Mumbo and Honeybee is a little bit different in that it's not really unrequited in that they definitely did the deed in the 70s. So I guess their status is just dance, fuck, and run. Like that. It was a one-night stand. I'm sure Honeybee regrets it. I'm sure Mumbo thinks back on it fondly.
I think the Nirvana song Love Buzz is about them.
Swanky would hate it, though.
Yeah, he hates grunge.
All right.
Well-established fact.
Well-established fact, thanks to Nintendo Power. So, keeping in the theme of Banjo-Kazooie, let's talk about Gruntilda a little bit more. More accurately, was Klungo secretly in love with Gruntilda? This is something that I never got a good read on in the
I felt like he had undying love for her and that he would die for her, but I don't know if he was sexually attracted to her.
He was definitely, he took up a lot of it. He was basically, I mean, the relationship between Grunty and Klungo was basically that. It was domestic abuse personified. And you really think, why did Klungo put up with it? Eventually he walked out. He said, no more. And he stood up for himself. He walked out and he became somewhat of a hero afterwards. Like, after Banjo-Tooie, Klungo is no longer affiliated with Gruntilda. And he's basically his own man, very friendly towards Banjo and Kazooie. Became a game developer as promised. But during the time they were together, I mean, I can't get a good read on this because I don't know exactly how Klungo felt. Like, you get the impression he had a thing for her, and eventually he just took so much abuse and misery that he eventually woke up and said, "I got to get out of here." But the upsetting thing about it, Nick, is that he mentions in Banjo-Tooie that he's got a wife. So,
he does?
Did he? Yeah. So he basically walked out on his wife to be with Gruntilda for numerous years. That's kind
a lot of
sad.
game developers do that kind of shit.
I don't know what to think. I honestly can't get a read on Klungo's state of mind. I think he definitely had some romantic feelings for Gruntilda, even if he himself wasn't aware of it. But I think you would have to be pretty damn obtuse to basically voluntarily leave your wife to live with a woman in her spiraling tower in the middle of nowhere and not realize, hey, I'm in love with her.
Well, yeah, Klungo was a few bolts short of a nut.
Yeah. I mean, as Cameron points out in the live stream, he does, the quote is, now Mrs. Klungo won't want me anymore.
Maybe that's what he calls Grunty.
No, because that was when he was leaving Grunty. Now, he was specifically referencing his physical appearance and how battered and bruised he was. But I don't know. Had he, if he wasn't living with Mrs. Klungo, as he calls her, for all those years he was with Gruntilda, then yeah, I don't think Mrs. Klungo will want you anymore, Klungo. And she has a name. It's not Mrs. Klungo. She's moved on, buddy. Anyway, so I don't know. I think it might have been an unspoken crush that he eventually realized was toxic and he got over her completely. That's my view.
Yeah, I agree.
On Gruntilda and Klungo. Now we do know this about Gruntilda. She has had one boyfriend in her life. This is a Gruntilda clue from the original Banjo-Kazooie. And so, because of the nature of the Gruntilda clues, there are 3 possible canon interpretations, depending on which Gruntilda clue you got. So, it's down to personal canon. But the names were Dirty Birdie, Undead Ed, or Greasy Grant. So,
wow. Wonder who those are in reference to.
Well, obviously, Ed would be Ed Bryan. Grant would be Grant Kirkhope. Birdie, I'm not really sure about.
Janitor or whoever, Beardy or whatever?
Birdie, maybe, or I'm thinking like Nick Burton, who worked at Rare. Like, I'm trying to think who would be a Bert. But, well, anyway, yeah, so one of those 3. Gruntilda specifically refers to him as like a poor boyfriend. Like, oh, this poor guy who dated Gruntilda sometime in the past. Now, granted, he sounds disgusting either way. Either he's a zombie that she maybe like necromanced to have a love partner, or he was just very, very unkempt and poor on the personal hygiene. He was either dirty or greasy. So either way, it's disgusting and probably left a lot of stains on the bed sheets between the 2 of them. Obviously, I
imagine him as being like some sort of Jersey Shore looking dude. Because he's greasy.
Well, I'm thinking like greasy, like not just in the hair, but like skin as well. Like,
well, yeah,
somebody
they're
who
pretty
like
greasy on the skin too.
Well, but somebody who like washes in lard or something,
gotcha.
you know, or like take. Oh yeah, or like takes a pack of Slim Jims and like douches themselves via Slim Jim.
Wow, I hope that's
like
on
the Macho Man Randy
DK,
Savage.
DK Vine out of context Twitter. I hope that gets there.
Oh, I should have put that on this year's Patreon logo sticker. Douche yourself with a Slim Jim. Of course, Slim Jim is a registered trademark, so we obviously...
So it'd have to be Thin James.
Skidding Jimmy. Yeah, I don't know. So, I don't know. If Gruntilda only had one boyfriend in her life, I'm sure she's never really gotten over him. You know, they say you never forget your first love. I imagine that's doubly and triply and quadruply true if you never had another love. So, I think this is a relationship that haunts Gruntilda to this day, and she often wonders what Birdie, Ed, or Grant, what they're up to, in you know, the present. Of course, now Gruntilda is a disembodied skeletal skull, so I'm sure she would be in no position to friend them on social media because she wouldn't want them to know what became of her.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure.
Why not?
All right. So we're going to get into some really quick, weird relationships here. And they're not even really relationships in that they, well, this one is in a relationship. Boggy and the Bear Babes. So Boggy, of course, has a wife. He has 3 children.
Yeah.
So you would
her
imagine
name's his right hand.
You would think, Nick, that Boggy would be one of the more well-adjusted, stable family men of the Donkey Kong universe, but nothing further could be from the truth. This Boggy is a deviant through and through, like so many classic DKU characters, but Boggy, it's even more disturbing because, again, he has a wife. He has 3 children.
Even the worst, like, serial killers or, like, secret fetishists, like, do it in private. He doesn't even do that.
It's the lack of shame that really upsets me about Boggy.
It's disgusting.
When I say upset me, I mean delights me. Of
course.
It tickles me to no end that Rare was this blatant about this character. Okay, a little bit of Kong text here. So, Boggy in Banjo-Kazooie, I don't think he was meant to be written as a deadbeat dad, but that's clearly how he came off. And I think Rare realized it too.
Yeah, he lost his kid's presence.
Right. And he was basically laying inert in a snowfield, choking on a jiggy. Like, why did you try to eat the jiggy, you fucking weirdo? Like, what is wrong with you? Oh, okay, anyway, we're getting besides the point here. The Banjo-Kazooie team realized, hey, Boggy kind of sucks. What if we really lean into that in his return appearance in Banjo-Tooie? What if we really celebrate the fact that he's a piece of shit? So, Boggy asked Banjo, and this is basically what he asked him. It doesn't come right out and say it, but he says, hey, I've got the Bear Babes DVD. Do you want to sit in a living room and masturbate with me while we watch it?
Oh my god.
I mean, am I wrong? Am I so wrong here? That is what he's going to watch porn.
He's from a different time, I guess.
Yeah, the year 2000, pre 9/11, we were all jerking it in our family rooms while our kids were downstairs.
I remember my mom telling me that she and my dad were invited to some party or something at some couple's house, and they just had porn playing in the living room, and people were just casually standing around drinking, talking.
Was there a jar of keys, and was Swanky Kong there?
No, they were not swingers, but sounds like Boggy might have been from that era of using it cool to jack off together.
Okay, but it's barely even swinging. It's I'm going to watch. And to be fair, we don't know if Bear Babes is out and out like porn, or if it's like a Girls Gone Wild type thing, which was very prevalent during that time. It's basically it's like candid. Goal. What's that?
You achieve the same goal with both.
I guess there's different titillations involved. I guess Girls Gone Wild is somehow far more skeevier and wrong-headed than pornography, like just straight up pornography, the copulating is. So I don't know what Boggy was thinking here, but yeah, he was basically like, let's whip it out. And he's watching Mr. Pants too during this time when he offers this, so he's probably plenty aroused as is. Mr. Pants is dancing on the TV in his first physical actual appearance at that. So
what if that was the Bear Girls video he was watching?
Bear Babes?
Just like the 100 Ways to Meet Girls, Mr. Pants was the host. He has like this side job as like what's that guy that created Girls Gone Wild, that asshole?
He's a dirtbag. I know who you're talking about. I forget his name.
Zach Braff played him essentially in Arrested Development.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll get into the tangled web that is Mr. Pants' romantic life in just a bit. But I think besides that, Mr. Pants has too much respect for women to make them flash the camera.
Definitely. That has been very evident in his appearances.
Look, the only nipples Mr. Pants wants showing is his own, all right?
I mean, he doesn't call his own wife Miss Cream Pie or anything.
Well, there's a reason she's called Mrs. Pie. And it's not because she's his wife.
Oh, okay. I forgot.
Okay, so
we'll get to that.
Anyway, so Boggy is just filthy and a deviant, and oh my god, like Rare took this character and they said, how can we make him even worse? He reappeared in Nuts and Bolts, but they kind of dialed back how atrocious he could be, which was just kind of disappointing. At that point, he should have been like Gruntilda, digging up dead bodies and fucking the corpses.
Yeah. Because Nuts and Bolts needed more reasons for people to hate it.
I think that would have given them a reason to love it. Good
point.
People are finally coming around to Nuts and Bolts as a quality game now that the cult of Tron has kind of subsided a bit, and people have had a chance to replay it with Rare Replay, and they said, and we've gotten Yooka-Laylee, and there's all these factors now that people are able to look at Nuts and Bolts in a fresh light and say, hey,
it's funny because if the luster hadn't come off of JonTron due to a racist statement, that may have never happened. So in a way, Rare should thank racism. God works in mysterious ways.
The two R's, rare replay and racism.
Of course.
Nuts and bolts, thanks.
Racism revealing reappraisals of old games that
so
they play.
Speaking of nuts and bolts, before we move on from the Banjo franchise, I want to talk about Bottles and, again, Mrs. Bottles. We don't really have a name for her. She's just Mrs. Bottles.
No, they're a good couple.
No, they're not.
They're
they
good people.
split up. They split up.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
So this is something the Nuts and Bolts established. We didn't get any more sexual deviancy from Boggy and Nuts and Bolts. At least none that really springs to mind, like the Bear Babes DVD. But Bottles and Mrs. Bottles.
Why'd they split up again?
So Bottles explains in Nuts and Bolts that Mrs. Bottles left him because she was unable to deal with the psychological trauma of him dying and coming back to life.
Wow.
Yeah, this is actually canon. So
it's actually kind of realistic.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that like it. At the end of Banjo-Tooie, like Mrs. Bottles does not know what Bottles has been through. He does not know he's been a smoldering, scarred corpse in Spiral Mountain for the entire game. And as far as she's aware, he's just late. Late for dinner. Well, eventually, after the events of Banjo-Tooie, Bottles sits down, Mrs. Bottles, and says, "Honey, you won't believe the day I had." And for whatever reason, this gnaws away at Mrs. Bottles. She cannot handle this notion that her husband was dead and has come back to life. And she's like, is he some sort of zombie now? Is he some sort of like Jesus Christ superstar? What am I sleeping with at night? Is this the same man I married? I don't feel comfortable. And it might not even be like out and out like, I'm leaving you because this freaks me out. It might have been a gradual thing that really just got the ball rolling as far as them drifting further apart. And Bottles attributes it to this. Who knows? But I would imagine that because there's, as far as we're aware, I mean, we didn't see all, 8 years between Tooie, Nuts and Bolts, so we don't really know what happens. But I would imagine that Bottles, as far as we're aware, had no fault in the erosion of his marriage. And so he would probably have a desire to win her back. I would imagine. I don't know. He would probably be pretty hurt if he thinks his wife left him because he resurrected. But I mean, what were his options here? He didn't ask to die. He didn't ask to come back to life. So.
Hashtag no not Bottles' fault.
Not Bottles' fault. Seriously. We got all these hashtags we're trying to get started to no avail. Hashtag TTNC of Thieves, people. I'm not seeing it trending. The video has been up for over a week now. I am let down. I am disappointed in you, DK Vine Nation. Please get that trending. And we can get hashtag not Bottles' fault trending as well, because Rare needs to tell Mrs. Bottles, hey, you're being unfair to your husband. This is still the same loving mole you married and fathered two, or mothered, or gave birth, whatever the term is, to two wonderful children with. Give him another shot. He just because a worm was eating him doesn't mean that worm is eating him anymore. That worm might still be inside of him. It might be a great tag-along sidekick to Bottles now, but that shouldn't change.
They should have done that. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I know. And Nuts and Bolts, he could have had a little worm friend inside his like small intestine or something,
or pop out his ear or eye or something.
Yeah. Well, they're maybe the next time we see Bottles, Rare will get on the ball and add that little feature. Who's to say? So anyway, in the live stream, I'm glad to see amazing DJ Dustin says Bottles is a good man, and warms my heart. Hashtag not bottles full. Let's make it happen, people. It should be trending 24 hours a day, every day on Twitter, along with hashtag TT in Sea of Thieves. All right. Let's move on from the Banjo franchise. So much love, unrequited, and broken hearts in the Banjo franchise. But let's move to Conker, Nick. And Conker is a lover of any mother, you might say. So I find this interesting about the Conker character. Now, Conker in Bad Fur Day is portrayed as being lustful for both money and for sex. He is a rotten character. He's given in to all of his vices, but there is something almost noble and progressive about his sexual, if not pursuits, then his sexual interest. So
yeah. Plus, we don't know if the girlfriend wasn't that open as well.
Well, okay. So Barry is also a terrible person. Yeah. Conker has been depicted as being sexually attracted to or romantically interested in women of multiple species. So he's a horny bastard in Conker's Bad Fur Day, that Conker is. But there is an undercurrent of progressive thought there. So this is a society, the Rare Archipelago. It's a society where there are anthropomorphic creatures of practically every animal type, and even plants and what would typically be inanimate objects. So dating outside your species, I would imagine, would be a loose equivalent of how, let's say, biracial couples are seen in human society. It would be, in today's day and age, it would be accepted by all but a few cranks who are stuck in their old-timey ways. Not to be confused by Cranky, who dreamt about being stuck in Candy Kong. But, so you got Conker, of course, who's a squirrel, Conker the squirrel, who was dating Barry, who was a chipmunk. And if we assume that they started dating at the end of Conker's Pocket Tales, which I think the end scene implies, them strolling on the lake, at the moonlit lake, after she was rescued from the evil acorn. They dated for close to 2 years, and they were terrible for each other. Let's be honest. And it ended with Barry's literal murder, not at Conker's hands, but he was partially responsible. And so yeah, it was a doomed romance. Like I said, they brought out the worst in each other, and it eventually ended in bloodshed. But, they were childhood sweethearts who were doomed by their own impulses. And they should have never dated in the first place. So, not really forbidden love. It's a love that happened. It's a love that's part of the record books, but at what cost? At what cost?
Her life.
Yeah, and from there, Conker, as we saw Conker in Big Reunion, we saw he has kind of grown and matured even a little bit, and it should. Well, I'll table it. There's something I want to add that's not in our show notes about Conker and his sexuality in just a minute here that Big Reunion brings to light. But then
he's
Conker,
a piss freak.
Well, I haven't seen the Putin tape about Conker yet, so I cannot confirm. But so Conker, who was a squirrel, I want to keep reiterating that Conker the squirrel was also sexually aroused by a sunflower of all things. Now, Nick, you're a man about town. You tomcat about. Have you ever seen a flower and thought, I would definitely go there?
I would definitely deflower that flower. A flower. I'm trying to think in my many travels as my time as a gigolo. No, I can't think of a flower.
I mean, not even one of those like dancing flowers, those plastic flowers that like dance to music.
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah, one of those for sure.
Yeah. Only 90s kids will remember that reference. I don't know. I mean, look, the sunflower had breast, what appeared to be human breast, and Conker wanted to. What is the most delicate way I can put this?
Motorboat them?
I think he wanted to do more than that. I think he wanted to boob fornicate with her.
Oh, good lord.
What? It's not me. It's Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Jerry Lewis
I'm just
over
talking.
here.
I'm just talking about Conker's Bad Fur Day. All right.
Oh, okay. What does he say to that flower? Do we have the lines or no?
He just like basically was like, then he was like, this is what I call a platform game. When he bounced on them.
Oh
with
yeah,
his
platform game. Yeah.
Yeah, which I can't say I've ever jumped up and down on breast before, so I don't know.
You haven't lived, brother.
I don't know if that's well, okay, maybe for you it's a fetish. I don't know what goes on in the bedroom of one Nick Prol. Well, I do, because I've seen a video that's on our YouTube channel of
it
what
involves
happened when
Australian men, usually.
Australian copies of Donkey Kong 2, yeah. So, I don't know. Conker definitely would have willingly given this flower his seed, if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean, Nick?
He would have handed her an acorn?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. So then there was Conker, who is a squirrel, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. Did you know Conker was a squirrel? Conker's a squirrel.
I didn't catch that part, no.
Okay, Conker's a squirrel, and then there was Jugga, the caveman human, who Conker like instantly lusted after. The weird thing, okay, so this is the weird thing about Conker's fixation on the very eruditely named Jugga. They were actually comparable in size to a real squirrel and a real human. So like it's something you don't really think about often, but the world of Conker, this is not a human-sized squirrel that's running around. Conker is actually just a regular squirrel who, of course, is anthropomorphic. So when he's next to a human, which we only really see in the caveman world, in the prehistoric world, he is the size of a squirrel, and humans are the size of humans. So if you or I actually were to meet the real Conker, the real guy who actually exists in a rare archipelago, he would be able to fit in our hands. It's a little weird to think about. But not as weird as Conker then wanting to have sex with this human woman.
You'll probably crawl inside of her, make a home.
Well, Nick, you foul. Look, I wasn't going to go that far. I was just going to say he would have voluntarily used his entire body as a sexual device, like some sort of furry dildo.
Yeah, that's
but you had to make it filthy. So the status of that is Conker's just a nasty, nasty creature. The fact that there's no way to make that work other than, I mean, I guess Conker's tail could have done something, but it's not firm enough, so his whole body would have.
Actually, Dustin has a good point. Isn't Conker the same size as Diddy though? Because Diddy Kong Racing. So
I think Diddy Kong Racing, you kind of have to squint a little bit and just accept that some of them have been... The scale in the Donkey Kong universe is always a little bit askew. So things can't be taken at literal face value.
Plus, don't we view Bad Fur Days as like his account of the events? So maybe he views himself smaller than he is.
True. Maybe
he has a bad self-image.
Especially when he's remembering, yeah. Well, I think you look at like K. Rool's size. K. Rool's size fluctuates wildly in the Donkey Kong series, much like Bowser in Super Mario. Like K. Rool is as short as or shorter than Diddy in Donkey Kong Land, and of course he's a behemoth in Donkey Kong 64. I think you just kind of have to accept that Conker should be smaller than he's portrayed in Diddy Kong Racing. And I mean, most of the Diddy Kong Racing characters are woodland creatures. So, it's not going to be like any of them are human proportion. Diddy's going to be much smaller than a human, but Banjo should be bigger than probably all of them. Crunch should be human sized, I guess. So I don't know.
Size matters not.
Yeah, I mean, apparently size doesn't matter if Conker thinks he can get with a human woman. But yeah, Conker will basically fornicate with anything that moves. We know that about Conker. Or at least he did back at time of his bad fur day. By the time of Big Reunion, well, he'll still fornicate with anything that moves, because Big Reunion opens with one of the Project Spark red squirrels lodged in Conker's rectum.
Are you
which
kidding
is really
me? I don't
funny.
remember that.
Yeah. So this is really funny because Big Reunion wasn't even M-rated. It was like I think teen rated. But yeah, Conker wakes up basically from an orgy with these red squirrels that are the standard Project Spark red squirrel, and one of them is stuck inside of him. So this is like a pansexual, bisexual orgy that Conker drunkenly attended in the field near where Birdie was. So I definitely think Conker's bisexual, and I think Big Reunion confirmed it. This is the only implication that's been made. I don't know if like Conker probably more often than not goes for those of the female persuasion, but I think when he's had a few, he'll definitely gobble anything in front of him.
Good to know.
Look, sexuality, Nick. I don't know if you know this, but sexuality, it's not black and white. It's a gradient scale. So,
black and blue for me. I like getting beaten.
Okay, Klungo. All right. This is go back to your wife, Nick. All right. You're doing no good pining after that witch.
Oh, Mrs. Nick?
Mrs. Nick, yeah. You know what? I can't wait till you do get I can't wait for the day you get married, because I canonically will have to refer to your wife from here on out as Mrs. Nick.
How do you know it won't be Mr. Nick, dude? How do you know? You're pressuring me, dude.
I'm sorry. Look, like I said, sexuality, it's a gradient scale. When Man of Steel came out, I've been open about how much I thought about gobbling Henry Cavill's bits. Henry Cavill doesn't really do it for me anymore. He's a balding man, and I don't think it looks
Ever
good on him.
since he digitally removed that mustache, you've been out.
Yeah. He's losing enough hair on top. I didn't need the hair lost above his lip, too. Anyway, Conker had a red squirrel up his butt in Big Reunion. So to all those people who say Big Reunion somehow sullied the Conker legacy, I say to you, how could any game that opened with a squirrel inside Conker's anus possibly besmirch the name of Conker? If anything, Big Reunion enriched Conker and made it a stronger franchise. I'm dead serious here. This isn't me being sarcastic or what have you. Check out Big Reunion. If you buy the physical version of Project Spark, you can still play it. So, okay. Let's move on, Nick. Let's move on from the core 3 DKU franchise. Well, I don't know. Should we mention Bumper? Bumper the Public Masturbator? There's not really much to talk about there.
It's not really romance.
Yeah, okay. It's just out and out sexual deviancy. Like, but we mentioned Boggy, so I mean, let's talk about the
Boggy felt love for those bear babes. You don't know, dude.
Yeah, I think Bumper, the implication that we have is he's just an exhibitionist. It's more about the thrill of possibly being caught, and of course he was caught, and he was sentenced to jail.
His fetish is his own semen dripping off a jungle gym.
Oh. See, I always pictured a movie theater like Pee Wee Herman.
I thought it was a playground. I thought it was...
What, Pee Wee Herman?
No, Bumper. I thought it was a playground.
Oh, I was going to say, no, Pee Wee Herman was a movie theater.
Oh, that I know, yeah. Fred Willard, too. All the good ones.
Yeah. And me after I see Black Panther this weekend.
Oh, hell yeah.
My White Panther is going to be coming out to play during that. Martin Freeman's in it. I'm going to free my man.
It's going to be a real circus.
That's all I got there. Thankfully, speaking of Panthers, though, segue. Let's talk about Panther Caruso and Crystal from off of Star Fox.
I don't even know who Panther Caruso is.
Panther Caruso, of course, the star of CSI Miami.
Oh, yeah.
He was Yeah, there was that internet meme where he would put on the sunglasses and then you would hear the panther scream in the background.
I thought it was like a story by Robert Louis Stevenson about like a cat on an island or something.
No, so I take it you aren't familiar with the two follow-up games in the Dinosaur Planet trilogy then?
Not enough to know Panther Caruso, but I'm somewhat familiar.
I don't know how you actually pronounce it. I always thought it was pronounced Panther Caruso, but when I was researching this episode, because I do research, this isn't just us spouting sexual innuendos into a microphone. Sure. No, there is a lot of research that goes into this. I realized it wasn't spelled like Caruso, like David Caruso. It was spelled Caroso, Caroso, and I thought, well, that's stupid, but okay.
I think it's a cool name. It's like Lando Calrissian or something.
Yeah, well, Panther Caruso, he is the panther who joins Starwolf starting in Star Fox Assault through Star Fox Command. And so he's always hitting on Crystal in Star Fox Assault when Starwolf and Team Star Fox meet up and they duke it out, and Panther's like, hey Crystal, after this you want to get out of here and show you my Black Panther? And Crystal's like, just rolls her eye. Crystal's with Fox at this point, so it's very tasteless. Granted, they're mortal enemies, Starwolf and Star Fox, so why not? Why not just bring sexual harassment into the mix as well? Of course, by the end of the game, Starwolf and Star Fox, they become uneasy allies when they realize the threat of the Aporoids, the insects that are invading the Lilat system, require them to team up for their own salvation. And so the game ends with kind of Starwolf and Star Fox having kind of this uneasy respect for each other. And that sort of carries over into Star Fox Command, the third and final game in the Star Fox timeline, the original Star Fox timeline, the DKU Star Fox timeline, the Dinosaur Planet trilogy. But in that game, one of the possible storyline routes, because there are multiple endings for that game, Nick. And that's why it's so difficult to do a game that takes place after Star Fox Command, because it could have ended myriad of ways. And one of those...
Well, they did it with Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, but I don't think Nintendo would ever do the way Knights of the Old Republic did it, which was at the beginning of the game ask you all these questions about what happened in the previous game to determine what your personal canon is. That was a great way to do it. I do not think Nintendo cares, as Star Fox Zero showed. They don't care about Star Fox continuity.
Just hire Chris Avellone to do it. He wrote KOTOR 2.
Whatever the case may be, there are branches of the timeline, we'll just call them that, in Star Fox Command, that shows Fox and Crystal splitting up, and Crystal starting a relationship with Panther. Now, there are also timelines where Fox and Crystal live happily ever after, and they have a child together. Spoilers. So we don't know what is meant to be taken as canon, and it might all be downright, at the moment, this moment in time, to personal canon, but wildly divergent takes in canon. And that means Crystal and Panther are a couple that could potentially happen, or might have potentially happened, but maybe not. Maybe it's just like Mumbo and Gruntilda. Like, they could have wound up together had circumstances been different. I don't know. And I think it's kind of skeevy, because I think Panther is a skeevy dude. He's basically Swanky Kong if he was a panther in a spaceship.
Or he is kind of like Lando, too. What have we here?
Yeah, but the difference is Lando was always a scoundrel. Now, Lando betrayed the heroes, but he did it for a reason. And
I'm just saying that hitting on Leia right in front of Han is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it would be like if Lando was introduced flying with Boba Fett and attacking the Millennium Falcon. Like, there are degrees of being an anti-hero, and I think Panther is much more of a black hat than Lando ever was. So I don't know. I think in the context of Star Fox Command, and my knowledge of Star Fox Command is a little foggier than it is for some other DKU games. But I think Panther was merely used by Crystal to get Fox jealous when Fox was being a bit of a prick towards Crystal. Because, Fox is a bit of an asshole, as Star Fox Adventures clearly demonstrated. And so it's not surprising that there are timelines out there where Crystal and Panther hooked up. But I don't know, in my personal understanding of the Star Fox timeline, and where the characters ended up, I like to think Fox and Crystal made it work. I imagine you don't have too many opinions on this.
I mean,
you didn't even know who Panther Caruso was.
Well, first of all, it's Caruso. I just found out about him, and I already know more than you.
I think he was corrosive towards the relationship of Fox and Crystal.
No, yeah, I'm a big Star Fox fan, but it's mostly like Star Fox 64 that I know, and Zero. But nobody likes.
It's mostly the Kellogg's LCD keychain Star Fox game that you are familiar with.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, my favorite Star Fox game that's not DKU, clearly. All right, let's go into the Fish and Chaps territory, the Banjo-Kazooie spin-offs. The games where, besides Star Fox, where people ask us, why is the Donkey Kong fan site covering this? And we have to explain, well, you see, there's a goldfish, or there's a man in his underpants, and fuck you. So, Grab by the Ghoulies. Yeah, we're talking Grab by the Ghoulies, everybody's favorite video game. I mean, it's one of my favorite. Yeah, I know. I'm talking about all those people who are tuning in, who's like, "Oh, a Donkey Kong podcast. This will be fun." And 90 minutes into it, we start talking about a dude named Fiddlesworth, who's a Scottish groundskeeper, and they're just like, "What the fuck is this? I'm out. I am done with this nonsense." I'm talking about those people. The people who are like, ooh, our YouTube subscriptions went up. And then the next day, ooh, our YouTube subscriptions went down. Because they actually listened to this. So, Fiddlesworth done fiddlin'. And he is the groundskeeper of Ghoulhaven Hall in the south of England. And you've got the maid of Ghoulshaven, Barbara, a.k.a. Babs Buffbrass. So, do I think Fiddlesworth is done fiddling Barbara, who was buffing Fiddlesworth's brass? No, but I think there's potential there, Nick. I think they both have a mutual attraction because look, Babs is always bitching. Well, I can say it, you can't, about Fiddlesworth in the game, and Fiddlesworth is always like, "Oh, this is going to upset. I made a mess. This is going to upset Babs." So Fiddlesworth disgusts her. But you know what they say about love, Nick. They say the opposite of love isn't
costs
hate.
$5.
The opposite. That too. But the opposite of love is indifference. There is no indifference here between Fiddlesworth and Babs. There is simmering hatred, at least from Babs' perspective. And we know Log, the Lord of Games, the possible deity from Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, at least impersonated Fiddlesworth during points and grabbed by the ghoulie. I refuse to say he was Fiddlesworth the entire time, because that would mean Fiddlesworth is not a real character. And there's already too many impersonators among the Ghoulhaven Hall staff. Of course, spoilers, Cribbins the butler is not who he says he is. So I like to think that whenever Log appeared and grabbed by the Ghoulies, it was only for a scene here or there, and otherwise it was the actual Fiddlesworth. So we do know that Log impersonated Fiddlesworth, though, so maybe, 'cause Fiddlesworth doesn't really know the way to a lady's heart. He's a bit unsophisticated as far as, he's a shabby groundskeeper. But maybe Log could impersonate Fiddlesworth and help make this love connection that's so obviously there.
You never know.
Of course, that would be kind of skeevy too, because then he would be seducing Buff Brass under false pretenses, and then she would fall in love with a man who isn't the man she fell in love with. She actually fell in love with a deity who may be responsible for the creation of the world. So she actually fell in love with God, and
like all nuns do.
I mean, who knows, Nick? Who knows? Maybe she could actually just fall in love with the Lord of Games, and then the Lord of Games could impregnate her, and then we would have the Jesus of games. Maybe the second coming could be through Barbara Babs Buff Brass.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. Anything can happen on Halloween, and it's always Halloween in Ghoulhaven Hall. Speaking of Fiddlesworth, though, Fiddlesworth also seems to have a sexual attraction to some of the ghoulies that inhabit the estate. So he seemed to be sexually attracted to the Medusas and or the vampires at various points in the game. Which, I think this is just an aspect of Fiddlesworth being lonely and having a lot of pent-up sexual energy.
What did he say about the Medusas and vampires? I don't remember that.
At one point in the game, he says, "I wonder if she likes hairy backs." When he's like looking at them from around the corner, and he's like, "Oh, I wonder if she likes hairy backs." And then Cooper's comes up from behind, and he's like, "Oh, I don't mind me. I was just minding my wood," because he was in the woodshed at the time. But you see, it was a
that fiddles.
Yeah, little dirty on Rare's part. So, my opinion on this, Fiddlesworth, if you're listening, and I know you are, Fiddlesworth, to paraphrase the great Warren Zevon, you do not want to get involved with any ghoulies. Like I said, to paraphrase Warren Zevon, well, yeah, you better stay away from her. They'll rip your lungs out, sir. Don't get involved with a Medusa or a vampire. Yes. Now, there is also... Oh, God. There's more forbidden love in Ghoulhaven Hall. And it's Baron Von Ghoul. And...
Come on, that's not love.
It's not love. It's forbidden, for good reason. He kidnaps children. He abducts multiple children, and he keeps them tied up, chained throughout the mansion.
I was offended that it was just little girls, though. Should have been little boys, too.
No, there were boys there, too.
Oh, okay. I'm fully okay with that, then.
Yeah. There's like one kid who looked like Harry Potter, even.
Yeah,
so,
equal opportunity offender.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't know why he kidnapped those kids.
He
could be holding them for ransom to get large sums of money from their parents.
Well, he's already wealthy, though. He's already independently wealthy.
Yeah, but he's eccentric. He might want more. You might not understand. He is
eccentric,
anything.
But I don't think he needs money. I don't think that's the root. It is.
You know what? I think kids in the nearby neighborhood always judged him and told stories that you'll get kidnapped if you go near there. So he just fed into their own urban legends and to get back at them.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
I will abduct children.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'll show them.
Kind of like What was I? Oh, no, never mind. Move ahead. I'll think of it eventually.
Oh no, who were you going to besmirch? Who were we going to have to lawyer up for? After
I was
you
saying.
accused them?
It was. Have you played the game Dishonored? Oh, in it you get accused for a murder you didn't do. So to clear your name, you murder everybody.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
that makes sense. See, that's the kind of illogical storytelling that you'll never find in the Donkey Kong universe.
Of course, our storytelling is just perfect.
It's impeccable, yeah. So yeah, it is kind of an inappropriate DK Vine soft fanon that Baron von Ghoul abducts the children because he's a pedophile, but
Angry Ancestor says forbidden love in the DKU is really just a less embarrassing way of saying the shipping episode. I didn't think we were talking about boxes or trucks or sending things by mail. Yeah. I don't know what he's talking about.
Absolutely not. Yeah, the only thing in crates are animals, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, there's ships in Sea of Thieves, but
there are. Yeah,
we're not really talking. I mean, maybe someone will fall in love online in that game and get married. We'll talk about that in an addendum to this a year from now. But
we will. We absolutely will. I don't know. I don't really. Angry Ancestor, come on. I don't really ship Baron von Ghoul and underage children. I think it's disgusting that you would imply that I do. What does that say about me?
What does it say about Angry Ancestor?
What does it say about any of us? Take a shower, Angry Ancestor. God. But, I mean, don't do it like that dude from Penn State. That was wrong. Oh, God, we're getting into all
Kelly,
sorts of...
that's a different kind of shower.
Well, that's a different kind of shower, yeah. So we're getting into all sorts of ugly territory here. And quite frankly, I think we need to clean it up. So, somebody alert Operation U-Tree, or whatever it was called, for Baron von Ghoul. We need to move on to some good, clean fun. And that's Mr. Pants and Mrs. Pie. And when I say good, clean fun, I actually mean the opposite of it.
Wait, what was Cooper's girlfriend's name?
Amber.
Amber Alert?
Oh, there you go.
Can't believe we never made that connection.
One big Amber Alert throughout Kool-Aid at all.
That's probably why they called her that. Do they have that in the UK?
Well, do they? I don't know if they would have, or if they would know the terminology Amber Alert.
I don't know. That's great though.
But that's too on the nose almost. I never considered that. Holy shit.
Wow. So this episode was worth something at least.
This Valentine's Day is the best Valentine's Day ever. I think we're bringing more love to people's hearts just based on that possible pun.
I just enriched the Ghoulies fandom. The wide Ghoulies fandom.
The Ghoulies fandom is getting ever wider this Valentine's Day.
Okay, sorry, you were saying?
So in my show notes for Mr. Pants and Mrs. Pie, I legitimately typed in all caps,
"This is true.
Jesus, this is fucked up."
He did.
So, okay, Mr. Pants. In the context of the Donkey Kong universe, he is one of the UK's biggest celebrities.
He's their Burt Reynolds.
One of the biggest celebrities on Earth. He is a fashion model. He's an underwear magnate.
He's like Marky Mark, but he has acting talent.
Well, no, he's Marky Mark mixed with Richard Branson. Mixed with Elon Musk, mixed with the most interesting man in the world, the original most interesting man in the world before they ruined him by recasting him with a younger dude.
They did?
Fuck you.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Maybe the old guy died.
Yeah, no, he's still alive. Oh. He wrote an autobiography called The Most Interesting Man in the World.
Oh, that's actually cool.
No, they blasted the original most interesting man in the world into space. And then, like, a few months later, they just recasted him with a younger actor.
It's
just, canonically, he's
Colonel
in space.
Sanders all over again.
Not as good as Colonel... Look, I used to drink Dos Equis religiously. I had it at my wedding. But you know what? I switched to Angry Orchard after they blasted the most interesting man in the world into space.
You gotta have your principles.
I have principles, Nick. I have scruples. That is something that's in short supply in this day and age. And I'm proud to have them. So anyway, Mr. Pants.
But Mr. Pants does not have scruples.
Mr. Pants. Okay, so here's what happened. So Mr. Pants, one of the most beloved media figures in the world of the Donkey Kong universe, and he's like the top celebrity throughout the Rare Archipelago. He is George Clooney. He is Brad Pitt.
He's bigger than
Scarlett
both of them put together.
Yeah, he's like imagine any like A-list superstar. That's Mr. Pants.
And times it by 10.
But then imagine Jesus Christ came back to Earth, not through Barbara Babs Buff Brass's vaginal birth, but imagine he just appeared.
Or as a mole who comes back from the dead.
Exactly. Now imagine he just appeared as a somewhat chubby dude in his skivvies with a bowler hat who danced around. That's Mr. Pants. And Mr. Pants, who lives in Pants Land, basically in the context of the world he lives in, he was so beloved that the UK gave him a section of the country and said, okay, this is Pants Land. In our fanon, it's around Cornwall.
You know,
like
if you took Malcolm McDowell from The Clockwork Orange, painted that codpiece red and put a mustache on him, he'd be Mr. Pants.
Well, now I know what to do this Halloween.
Exactly.
So anyway, in Pants Land, where Mr. Pants lives, there is a pie baker named Mrs. Pie. And she's not just called Mrs. Pie because she bakes pies, but she is married to a man named Mr. Pie.
Oh.
And we never see Mr. Pie. Mr. Pie is one of those great unseen figures of the Donkey Kong universe. But Mr. Pants and Mrs. Pie had an affair, and this affair produced an illegitimate son, Toby Pie.
And this is canon?
This is canon.
Is this in the instruction
Scribes.
booklet? Oh, Scribes. Okay.
No. This is from Scribes. From the word of God, from the creator, Mr. Pants himself. I believe this predates It's Mr. Pants. This is when we knew Mr. Pants' family before.
This is when he was just a Captain Bones of sorts.
Yes. Well, he had appeared in Banjo-Tooie, but there was still no game about Mr. Pants. So they had an illegitimate son together, Toby Pie, but Mrs. Pie remains married to Mr. Pie, and everyone in Pantsland seems to know about this affair because they know fully that Toby Pie is Mr. Pants' son. And Mr. Pants and Toby go on all sorts of adventures together.
Well, Toby's just his slave name, but yeah.
Mr. Pants is actually the opposite of Boggy. He is a great father to Toby.
Hell yeah.
Maybe too much of a doting father, considering he blasted Toby into space in a homemade rocket. Elon Musk, blasted the dummy in the car into space. Mr. Pants said, long before Elon Musk came about, Mr. Pants said, fuck that noise, I could blast a dummy into space. I'm going to blast my son.
Speaking of Musk, he blasted Mrs. Pie with some musk.
Oh, no, but it's true. He did. Absolutely. And I gotta say, out of all the relationships or potential relationships we've talked about during this episode, this is the most successful and loving one we've seen, which is weird.
You'd think it would be all over the tabloids, like when you're checking out the grocery store, it's like, Mr. Pants' secret lover, the child no one knew about.
Yeah, okay, so the only thing I can think of, Nick, is that Mr. Pants is so beloved that the cult of personality around Mr. Pants is so doting that they just basically excuse any inappropriate misbehaviors that he indulges in.
Like Bill Clinton.
Well, not even okay, but Bill Clinton has his fair share of adversaries, like half or more of the population dislikes Bill Clinton. Hey baby, I'm Bill Clinton. I'm gonna stick my doodle in her.
He still seems quite immune to the current outing of people, though. You know what I mean?
Okay, but I mean, I think the fact that his sexual dalliances were well documented in the 90s, well litigated.
I guess.
And he's not like he's retired essentially, and He's not the first husband right now. But if you'll excuse me, I was going to finish my Bill Clinton impression.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, baby, I'm going to stick my doodle in your Yankee. Or should it be my Yankee in your doodle?
Stick that in your cap and call it macaroni.
It is a wet noodle and it's extra cheesy.
Oh,
It's been a while since we busted out the old Clinton. It feels good.
It's been a while since Clinton busted it either.
Like a well-worn pair of jeans or a blue dress.
With a stain.
It just, snuggly. Oh. So, yeah, even Mr. Pie is like, well, yes, my wife cheated on me and had a son.
But at least it was with Mr. Pants.
It was with Mr. Pants, and I think that's pretty damn cool.
Mr. Pants was on her okay list or whatever. You know how couples have that?
Yeah, her celebrity do list, which you see in like sitcoms, but doesn't actually exist in real life because that's weird. Like what Friends made popular, this notion that you have a celebrity I can cheat with list.
I remember
Mr.
discussing
Pants,
it with a past girlfriend.
Yeah,
but like probably just
yours?
in joking. Probably. I mean, because you don't expect to ever meet the celebrity or do them.
Who were your celebrities?
Oh no, I didn't have one. I think she had them.
I only have one on mine.
Who's that? Wait, let me guess. Don't tell me. Don't
Pants.
tell me. Let me guess.
No, I already told you.
Who was it?
It's over. It's ruined. Mr. Pants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like Liv Tyler or something.
Liv Tyler. What?
I don't know.
Okay, so anyway.
You're a Lord of the Rings fan, right?
Yeah, I am a Lord of the Rings fan, but my wife got me into Lord of the Rings. That would be weird.
Good point.
And plus, it would be Gandalf. Come on.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, Gandalf the White, if you know what I mean.
He would be after I was done with him.
Wow, we have no talent.
You shall not pass? Try saying that to me after you see this ass. Okay.
Oh, God. This line of humor is literally what people without comedic talent turn to. So
I know. It's juvenile. It's tasteless. It's off-putting. And quite frankly, it's passé.
But hilarious.
So anyway, yeah, it tickles the old funny bone. That's what I'm calling it tonight. Say it. The funny bone. Oh, dude. Hey, baby, who wants to see my funny bone? I can do stand up. It's standing up right now. Yeah!
Wow.
This is a podcast about Donkey Kong. One more couple, the newest potential couple in the DKU. Capital B and Dr. Quack.
Call me Gallagher, baby, because I'm about to smash those melons.
Sorry, it was a delayed one.
Delayed, but well worth it. All right, so... Hey, baby, I want to try this new sexual position. You've heard of the 6 to 9? I call this the 4 to 2.
Was he the 42nd president?
He was the 42nd president.
Okay, I get it.
You got it now. I mean, it ruins it when you have to explain it, but okay.
Apparently, Arnold Schwarzenegger on set of, I think for Conan or something, said to the makeup lady, he's like, you want to try a 72 sometimes? And then she was like, what's that? And he's like, it's where you 69, but then you stick your hand up my ass.
Is that a real story?
Yeah, it's real. Why would I make that up?
Well, I don't know. You're weird.
Oh, good point. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, I know the infamous Schwarzenegger quote from Pumping Iron.
Oh yeah, it's like coming all the time.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Capital B.
Anyway, Capital B and Dr. Quack. So it was implied in dialogue near the end of the game that there might be something there, and of course, Platonic tweeted that infamous picture last Valentine's Day, that GIF or GIF, if you're going to be a just one of those little.
You're going to be wrong.
It's actually a GIF, and no, the creator said it's a GIF.
Yeah,
word of God.
God created us. Of God, and damn it. Are we any good? No.
So, they tweeted that moving image of Capital B and Dr. Quack.
It was quite moving. You're right.
Yeah, looking like lovingly in each other's eyes with the hearts. And so I think there's something there. Maybe they had an affair. Absolutely. Now, it's not currently going on, and I think the conservative corporate culture that they both live in would never really allow it. Plus, I think capital B is obviously a power bottom, and that's something that's been rendered impossible with Dr. Quack having no body. So
they could create something.
I'm sure there could be apparatuses.
You could just stick him on Grunty's body.
Yeah. Well, we're just giving them ideas for Yooka-Laylee now. We don't need to be doing Platonics work for them. We have calls. Oh, God help us, we have calls. Oh, no. I don't even want to know what our callers called in with this week.
Did they know the topic?
Yeah, they knew the topic. So buckle in, or strap in, or strap on, because we're going to take some listener calls, and then we will give our final thoughts on forbidden love in the Donkey Kong universe. Ooh.
The sweetest of taboos.
Hey, you guys, it's Bay and the Bear here, or Ethan, or whatever. So, for this Valentine's episode, I wanted to ask you guys about a character we've never seen, may not exist, but darn it, I kind of want her to now. I'm, of course, talking about the rumored wife of K. Rool. Of course, stemming from Donkey Kong Country 3, where he mentioned, where Baron K. Rulenstein mentioned, oh, I made chaos out for pots and pans. Now, of course, many people have just said, oh, K. Rool's just, quoting Scooby-Doo, or, oh, he's just making a joke out of it. But what if K. Rool did have a wife? What if K. Rool had this cruel wife who perhaps is even more evil than he was, and perhaps she left him? The reason I haven't seen her is because she left him after K. Rool, basically went insane trying to get revenge on the Kongs. We're kind of throwing this idea around, I think, in a thread on the forum about female Donkey Kong universe characters, and honestly, I'd like to, who knows, maybe someday see her as a villain in the game, and maybe it could be enough to say have a Donkey Kong Country game with K. Rool as a playable character after he's kind of forced to work with the Kongs to beat his wife. That came out wrong. So, yeah, that's it, and since it's Valentine's Day, love, I'd just like to extend thank you to you, Hyle, and for the last conversation about Sea of Thieves. I'm not sure if you've been keeping up with me on the forum, but my tune has completely shifted about the game, especially thanks to you and Banjo-Kaboom extending your hands of friendship towards me, and I'm getting this situation cut out. I got my Xbox account set up. I'm trying to figure out this Xbox Live thingy. I'm kind of a dinosaur. So yeah, K. Rool. So yeah, what do you think about K. Rool's wife? Can she come back? And I'm excited to play with you guys in Sea of Thieves, dude. Okay, happy Valentine's Day and second day of Cop Cock, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, second day of Cop Cock. Bye.
Well, thank you for the call. And yes, it is the second day of Cop Cock, and second cock of Cop Cock Day in the traditional 12 days of Cop Cock Day. Also officially, observed as Coxing Day. But I'm glad we helped win you over as far as Sea of Thieves go. And everything we're hearing about Sea of Thieves this week sounds really... I'm just loving everything here. Monkeys are confirmed in the game, Nick. You can buy a monkey and have it as a pet.
There is a god.
There is a god, and he's brought us monkeys. So finally, I have been living agnostically for so long now, but now that I have been gifted the gift of monkeys, I can say hallelujah and praise.
It was the missing link between you and God.
So K. Rool's wife, what do you think about this?
I want to talk about Mitchell Wolf's wife, because doesn't this guy sound like he could be Mitch's son?
No, I don't. I'm not getting that at all. Where are you?
He just sounds like Mitch a lot to me.
So you're thinking that maybe Mitchell Wolf had a Toby Pie situation?
Yeah, I think this is Mitch's Toby.
Okay.
Hashtag Mitch's Toby.
Bay and the Bear or Mitchell Wolf, if you want to call in and clarify whether or not...
Is Mitchell your father?
Yeah. So, K. Rool's wife. Now, I think we brought this up during the exhaustive 4-part Donkey Kong Country 3 spotlight we did back in Season 4. But, what do you think? I mean, is this a character that actually exists or not?
I think why not?
You know, my thoughts on K. Rool's wife...
Or no. Maybe he goes. He's like, it's like a. Sorry to interrupt. Maybe it's a Norman Bates thing where like he goes home, he puts on women's clothing, looks in the mirror, and says, "Oh hi, honey, how have you been today?" And he goes, "Oh fine."
Or it could be like a Mrs. Doubtfire type thing where
except more insane.
Except more insane. Like there's no reason for him to do it. He just goes home, dresses as a woman. Hello, I'm Mrs. K. Rool. Of course, Mrs. K. Rool. There couldn't be any other name for her.
Of course.
I don't know. Like, at first, I was adamantly opposed to the idea of K. Rool having a wife. Like, back when I first played DKC3 and even in the early years to DK Vine up until recently. At this point, I am so starved for any Kremlings that if we got K. Rool back, I would absolutely be on board with him having a wife. And, I mean, I would want to understand why any woman would want to be with him. I could see why at first, because he's the king. I'm marrying into royalty. I will be made for the rest of my life. But after Crocodile Isle blows up, after the Kremlin empire collapses unto itself, I think it would kind of be like a Melania Trump situation. Why are you still with this man? Just leave.
Her name should be K. Ruella, like Cruella.
K. Rool's getting spanked with copies of Nintendo Power with him on the cover. This porn star. And
with Candy
you're
Kong.
Standing by him. Oh.
Stormy Kong.
All these. Well, we do. Okay, so yeah. Good point. K. Rool lusted after Candy Kong during the end of Donkey Kong 64. We never brought that up.
Didn't. I guess did he? Chunky?
Yeah, remember at the end of the boxing fight, Candy came out and K. Rool's like, oh, and he was like distracted. Then Funky came up and penetrated K. Rool's
Yeah, I meant Diddy Kong, not did he.
Oh, okay.
Common misunderstanding. I said who didn't Diddy, meaning like I guess everyone lusted after her besides Diddy. But it sounded like I said no, he didn't. Did he?
Yeah, I get it now. Okay.
It's a comedy of errors. It's a regular importance of being
hilarious.
Earnest. Yeah.
Yeah, and the importance of being earnest, of course, my favorite Jim Barney movie.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
A handbag burn.
Let's take our next call.
Hey, losers. It's Angry Ancestor. It's been a while since I last called you guys. Well, I called a few months ago, but I guess that call is just rotting away in the call sack. It'll probably never fertilize anything at this rate. I gotta make this call quick, because I have a hot date tonight. Sure, you guys have no concept of what that even is, of course. So we're talking about forbidden love. Let's talk about the most notorious forbidden couple in the DKU, Banjo and Honeybee. Now, it's very clear upon each visit to Honeybee's hive that she has a thing for Banjo. She's very flirtatious, and, you know, he's growing down below every time he sees those fucking bee titties. So, I gotta say, that is probably the most convincing argument to have them together canonically. And, is it possible that I'm reading into it too much? Sure. Is it likely that I have some sort of fetish and I want to satisfy it? Yeah, sure. Once again, I mean, definitely. Do I want to lube up my cock and honey and penetrate a beehive? Absolutely. I mean, sure, man, you know? Anyways, fuck you and peace out.
Oh my God.
That's one of the best calls ever.
You think? Yeah. You might say, Angry Ancestor, that you want to get that bee on her knees. That doesn't work.
You just ruined what was the best call ever.
Oh God. I thought I had another bee pun.
I love the character of Angry Ancestor at this point. He's like the forum douchebag who's above it all, but still actively takes part in it. Yeah,
that's pretty much the entire forum at this point, isn't it?
No, I feel like he gets it more than a lot of people. He's something about that guy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he is.
He notices the ludicrousness of it all.
Right. Unlike Ludacris, who was part of the DK.
Yeah, he was not self-aware at all. He just
didn't understand why we were talking about Mr. Pants, and we tried to explain it to him, and he said, but what about the Mr. Pants code, ants for pants, or pants for ants, in Jet Force Gemini? What about that? And we was like, well, that's not an actual physical appearance, Ludacris, and Ludacris was gone.
Yeah, we burned a lot of bridges.
We did.
Because his last name's British.
Banjo and Honeybee, I never got this. What do you think, Nick? Like, I never picked up on this, but I
felt Honeybee was flirty, but I feel like she's like that with everyone, probably.
Well, I mean, Candy Kong is flirty. You visit her in Donkey Kong 64.
That's just how Rare writes grown women characters, I feel.
That's how they wrote women characters at the turn of the century, yeah. I think Sea of Thieves is a bit more
it's like on the other polar opposite. It's like so progressive.
Yeah. But I mean, you visit a Candy Kong, you could be Tiny Kong, and Candy would be like, bend over, I'm going to shove my instrument inside of you.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, Candy. But I mean, not in so many words, but it was essentially the implication.
Yeah. She didn't say different things for each Kong member, right?
Right. But she still says, I'm going to show you my instrument. And you're like, you're talking about your clitoris, right?
No. And come now. She's asexual.
What? Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, I think Honeybee is just naturally flirtatious. And it might be, she's still trying to wash the taste of Mumbo Jumbo out of her mouth. Or whatever orifice Mumbo Jumbo. What is wrong?
Wow.
What is wrong with me, Nick? Why
you have
am
less
I
of an excuse.
broken?
You're like 10 years older than me or something, right?
Oh no! Don't age me up. I am practically a newborn babe.
Good point.
I am swaddled in the rags that the doctors put me in after I was born. I am fresh like a Jungle Bee character. But I am fundamentally broken as a human being, as this episode has showed.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I mean. It has nothing to do with age. It just. I think
I'm still young enough to just
wrong.
be a little stupid, But you have hindsight, wisdom. Shouldn't be spending your life on this.
I have been citing a lot of Heinz this episode.
That's pretty clever, except still didn't work somehow.
It didn't. It really didn't.
Should have.
Why don't we take a third call?
Right.
Because I feel like I am ruining myself in this episode. So we're going to take a third call. I'm going to try to regroup. I'm going to try to come back from the brink of whatever abyss I'm staring over, and then we'll wrap up this episode. We'll wrap it up snugly
in swaddling clothes.
I was going to say it'll be snugly wrapped. With the tip left a little bit loose.
Oh,
and
God.
Okay. Oh,
even
God.
I can take so much.
How dare I? It's only when you're here, Nick. I
bring
am
out
fine
the
when
beast
Cameron's
in you.
here.
And I don't even say anything. It just comes out.
It just happens. Hey, I mean, you're the one who answers the door, and there's a shirtless Australian wearing a Donkey Kong 2 mask.
I didn't invite him.
You just invite it. Yeah. All right. Last call. Let's hear it.
Hello, DK Vine. Welcome to me, third-time caller and original tallest munchkin from the Muppet of Oz. Rape is forbidden love. I don't think there's ever been rape in the history of the DKU, unless you count the rape of our childhoods, the forbidden love of our childhood. I'm joking. I don't think anything in the DKU has ever raped my childhood, only improved it greatly. I believe there is forbidden love between Pipsy and Astromouse. It's either that or Pipsy is Astromouse and had a sex change to become Pipsy. I've also always thought Pipsy and Tip-Tup were a thing. Their relationship or ship name would be Pip-Tup or Tipsy. I also think we have missed an opportunity here and should celebrate Lee Love Day on Valentine's Day, aka Love Day. I have a question. Who is the Cop King in love with? All of us? Karate Kong? Ryan Stiles is obviously in love with Colin Mockery. As a straight man, I can proudly say I want to see them kiss so bad. Nick Prol, you sound like my high school best friend Matt Vicari. You should just call random people and pretend to be Matt Vicari. Everyone would believe you, even your dentist. Also, Chad sounds like Weird Al Yankovic. So I ship Nick and Matt Vicari and Chad and Weird Al, even though Chad gave me a Mr. Mooney award. What would the ship relationship names be for the DKU? Answer these questions 3. Bye.
Nick.
Wow. So Angry Ancestor called back in, huh?
no, that's
two comedic geniuses on the same episode.
So, are you the illegitimate son of Matt Vicari?
Hashtag Vicari's Toby. Nick is Vicari's Toby. I based my whole persona off of Matt Vicari, essentially. That's what this guy doesn't know.
I guess.
Yeah,
I guess.
Not I guess. I literally did. I mean, I knew the guy for 4 years and, started modeling my vocal intonation, the way I carried myself. He's pretty much my god.
You just skinned him and you're wearing his visage as a suit, much like I want to use your skin as a lamp.
Exactly. Silence of the Vicaries.
So I don't even know where to take this.
It's a lot of questions in one video.
Or response to this call. Yeah.
Love Day thing. Okay, clever. Got it. Moving on. I don't think Chad sounds like Weird Al, but okay. He sounds like Sam Levine.
You sound exactly like Matt Vicari, though.
That's true.
I will admit that.
Yes.
Tip-Tup and Pipsy,
I like
that's an interesting ship. Well, considering that Tip-Tup fathered a bunch of turtle children, I very much doubt he wound up with Pipsy.
Yeah, but maybe they have mice genitalia.
I don't think biologically that can happen.
Hey, you never know.
I mean, maybe they went to Taj and were like, we want to have children. Can you make it happen? And Taj was like,
don't say anything.
Alakazam.
Too late.
I shouldn't do that voice. That's offensive.
It's so offensive.
Yeah. I know. What else? Colin Mockery and Ryan Stiles. Ryan Stiles, a beloved Donkey Kong universe character. Ryan Stiles.
Dear God,
DK
Stiles.
Hall of Famer. I would ship that. That definitely gets me
I think
excited.
that makes a mockery out of love, personally.
What would be the ship name between those? Like the combined celebrity couple
Rockery, Stockery, Jolin.
Rockery, Stalker. It sounds like you're just doing a nursery
Rockery,
rhyme now.
Stockery, Doc. Pipsy ran up the cock.
Oh,
of Tip-Tup.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. No, I figured that you didn't have to. You could have just ended it at cock, and I would have filled in the blanks, much like Tip-Tup filled in her blanks.
It does make you wonder. The Tip-Tup suite. Did his dad favor mice women too?
I know this is this caller's preferred fanon, but I think Tip-Tup's parents, Tip-Tup's father and his mother were straight up turtles and just massive, nasty love makers, considering they left that room in such a state of, well, let's just say in dire need of.
Has the theory that Tank Tup is Tip Tup's father ever been floated around?
Isn't Tank Tup a different type of turtle?
He certainly looks like it.
Tip Tup? Yeah, I think Tank Tup is just... Maybe Tank Tup gets his thrills by having a whole turtle choir inside of him. Maybe Tank Tup's a whole different kind of pervert.
Yeah, I think the harmony of their singing vibrates his prostate.
Nick, maybe we should save that for character witness Tank Tup.
I can't wait.
So, yeah. So, as Weird Al Yankovic always said, let's put a pin in that. Why don't we... wrap up this episode by talking about the future, the immediate future of our fandom, and that would be Sea of Thieves, coming out in a little over a month. Now, Sea of Thieves is going to be a little bit different as far as Forbidden Love goes, because it's going to be essentially the players themselves who are controlling most of the characters in the game world, who are the characters of the game world, role-playing as these pirates. And do you think we're going to have actual love develop on the high seas?
Yes.
Would you care to elaborate?
I just think it has happened in online games before. It can happen again.
Well, okay. For example, let's say like you and I are crewed up on a ship together. Maybe
that doesn't count. We're already in love.
Just hear me out. So we're on a 2-person sloop, very private, very cozy,
sloop
very
John
intimate. Sloop Johnson C. And you look at my character. My character is going to be in its underwear. I think I've already determined that's how I'm going to dress in the game. And for more on that, see DK Vine's inaugural episode, Stream of Thieves, the pilot episode on our YouTube channel. And, I'm going to be in my underwear, bulging.
Probably one of the few online games where you could, because in other ones, like, the clothing would have stats of some kind, but in this, it means nothing.
And plus, Rare is the company of Mr. Pants, so they want to keep it. They want to keep it a
Can they be red,
option.
though?
I hope so. I don't think yet, but hopefully by the time the game comes out or sometime after that, we will be allowed to have red briefs in the game. Maybe that's something, you can buy or find or something in the game. But okay, so you see my bulge, you catch a glimpse of it in the moonlight, like Conker and Barry at the end of Pocket Tales, and you're like, I like the shape of his jib, if you know what I mean. And I like the cut of it.
I like his peg.
And I see you. I see you in the distance. The sea breeze blowing your curly locks. That reminds me of a digitally altered Henry Cavill.
Not the ones on my head either.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.